Okay, now we're back. Sorry, minor interruption. The wonders of telecommunications. Had to take a phone call. Anyway, lastly, in closing, I wanted to cover one more subject. As you can see, some of the fertilizer I've got here is rabbit manure. I tilled a number of buckets, 5-gallon buckets worth of rabbit manure in all of these double rows because they have a high content of phosphate in them, just like horse manure. And they're really make a really good source of fertilizer for tubers and below ground growth. So any of your root vegetables, you want to give them plenty of phosphate, and you'll get really good performance out of them because it helps for everything beneath the ground. Now, in saying that, there's a number of things that can be found in manure, so when using it as a fertilizer, it's best to air it out, spread it out somewhere where it can dry. And you can break it up, chop it up, and then throw it out into your rows. Now, also, I till it into the ground. I don't just put it along the edge, so that way you get better absorption. The other reason is because, especially here in this location in Texas, we have a wonderful little fly called a soldier fly, and they are a very harmless fly. One of your best friends when it comes to gardening, because you can use those in creating your compost. They will turn vegetable matter, manure, other things into compost really rapidly. They produce their larva rather than being a standard maggot like what you generally see in flies. It's a rather armored worm, small worm. When they're at their largest, just before they pupate, they are probably about 3/4 to 7/8 of an inch long, and they look kind of like a screw. So, like I say, they're a heavily armored small worm. They can withstand a lot of extremes in climate, but if you introduce them into your soil right as you're planting, oftentimes with something like a potato, they'll eat the potatoes also, whether they're skinned over or not, as I illustrated earlier with the close-up on one of the potato cuttings. Even skinned over, they'll still consume some of your different plantings. So if you put them out early and then till them into the soil, when you remove them from their food supply, being the manure, and distribute them throughout the dry soil, they'll die, and then they just turn into fertilizer themselves. But if you don't take proper precautions beforehand, then you may well lose half of what you're planting to the soldier fly larva. But there again, soldier flies, if you're not familiar with them, you've probably seen them. Oftentimes, if you have old moldy feed, for example, livestock feed, you'll find soldier flies in that. The flies are a fairly large fly, but they have one exception to all the other members of the fly family. They have no operable mouth parts. Therefore, they do not bite, they do not feed. Once they pupate and then turn into adults, their sole purpose is to breed, reproduce more soldier flies, and then die. So the adult stage is very short on a soldier fly. But the larvae, as I said before, are going to be one of your best friends because you can use those for a number of things. Later on, I'll get a good shot of some soldier flies in the next video perhaps, but they're wonderful if you have excess vegetable waste. You can put it in a bucket, set it outside, and the soldier flies will find it. And you can turn a couple pounds of vegetable matter into a couple of pounds of protein source for chickens, turkeys, and other birds. So you can really take advantage of a lot of things using the soldier flies. You can use them for creating compost, and you can use them as a protein source for your other endeavors, such as turkeys and chickens. And turkeys and chickens love them, so excellent source of protein for them. Anyway, so as not to ramble on any further, I believe that's everything we have for now. You can see a little of the progress with the potatoes. Hopefully in a couple more weeks when we come back, they're going to be considerably larger, and they'll actually look like a nice recognizable plant. So that's all we have for now. So everyone, good afternoon, good luck, and happy St. Patrick's Day.